everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bear Bar Tales. It is I, the one bear, who would have resisted the power of the One Ring and destroyed it by Book 2. You know, not trying to compare or anything, Mr. Frodo. The Bear Bard. Today we're returning to a format that I love doing on this channel, and that's short stories. Not all horror stories need to be these giant epics worthy of Homer, but can sometimes be told far quicker. But first, if you like this content and you want to hear more from the Bear Bard, make sure to like this video and give this channel a sub. Every sub I get gets me one step closer to getting JoeCat to write a crap guide to Bear Bard Tales. Also, before we get started, I want to thank you guys all so much for all the subs. Between the recording of the last video and its publication, we actually hit 1,000 subs. To say that it's quite humbling knowing that there are so many people out there that appreciate my content is an understatement. I do have something special coming out to honor the occasion. Let's go ahead though and get started with today's first story titled, DMs Like This Are Why People Quit Playing TTRPGs. My players used a wish spell. The GM has great latitude in ruling what occurs in such an instance. The greater the wish, the greater the likelihood that something goes wrong. Please help me figure out what goes wrong. So my players had a really tough fight this week. One of the PCs is dead, the other PCs are probably about to die. There's little hope. One of the PCs has been hanging on to a wish spell for over a year of real time. Campaign's been going on for almost 2 years. They are in Dungeon of the Mad Mage. The wish was, I wish for the whole party, including dead PC, to be transported to Skullport. Some ideas I've had so far. Party gets teleported back. No gear, no money, no clothes. Dead body next to them when they instantly arrive back in town. The cleric is high enough to revivify, but she won't have the components if they end up in town with no gear. Alternatively, the party gets transported back along with the creatures they are currently fighting. Maybe they should show back up in the middle of Xanathar's office where the dead body drops right there in the middle. A bar would work too. I'd probably let them keep their gear in that case. I have a week to come up with this too, so I thought I would seek some help. Maybe even mash some ideas together. What do you folks think would be a good way to have something go wrong? So, well, based on just the information in this post, I've seen far worse DMs than this guy, but he's still a dick. If you don't feel like dealing with a wish spell, then why did you put it in your game? I mean, just don't put it in. Problem solved. You literally have that power. The only reason I could think of putting it in the game when you have no intention of letting your party use it when they need it is just to torture your players. And in that case, you really have no business being a DM. Ugh. Anyway, our next story is titled, This Sounds Like a Horror Story Waiting to Happen. Hashtag elite level. Power gaming is not about character optimization, though this is important. It's about driving the game, steering the campaign in the direction you want it to go, establishing the hashtag victory conditions, then hashtag winning the game. The aspiring hashtag power gamer must remove the DM out of the leadership role and make him the impartial referee he is meant to be. You will make the other players follow your lead and assist you, and they will enjoy the process, even though they may not understand what is happening as it is happening. Whoo! I am feeling alpha level pumped now. Jesus. This reads like some neckbeard power gaming mega chad manifesto. I mean, first of all, slow your roll. I love these games as much as the next guy, but damn, you gotta realize this is a game. The tone this is written in doesn't sound like it's coming from a stable person talking about a hobby. Let's go over each of the aspects where this guy's just setting up another horror story that we'll end up reading about in the future. Treating the game like it's something to be won. You don't win D&D. Did you have a good time with good people? Did you forget about your crappy day for a while? Did you get to touch just a bit of that glory your character earned? That's where the win comes in. Then usurping the DM and becoming a spotlight hog. I mean, it's just a dick move. All of you are there for the same thing. You gotta share the spotlight a bit. Let everyone shine. Then, to top it all off with main character syndrome. Again, it's a cooperative thing. It's meant for everyone to work together and share that glory. If this is the attitude and vibe you bring with you into a group, then I hope you spend a whole lot of time in LFG and not enough time in groups ruining players' days. But now on to the next story, titled, Camouflage, Science, or Face Sorcery. Was a player in a really RP-heavy and character-focused game. and decided to roll up a Robin Hood type character who was pacifistic and sneaky. Problem is, even though I min-maxed for as much stealth as possible, it basically never did anything because I was always caught by an excessively high perception roll. I asked the DM if I could homebrew a feat of some kind that would help me sneak better since it was literally the one thing my character was supposed to be good at. DM said sure, what do you have in mind? Well, maybe if my character wears clothing of a similar color to the surrounding, then he'll get a stealth boost? Sorry, but your character is immortal, and that sounds like some fey magic-y type stuff, so no. My stealth never got any more useful, and continued to be thwarted at any opportunity where it might be handy until the end of the game. Edit, system was New World of Darkness by White Wolf. This would really tick me off as a player. I mean, I get that sometimes a GM may occasionally fudge a roll for the story, but to completely negate a character just because you don't feel like dealing with stealth is just garbage. I mean, tell your player that this campaign won't work well for their character, which is still lame but much better than just dicking with them, or adjust your story. Personally, I subscribe to the latter. I get that it may mess up your exact plan, but that's part of what makes TTRPGs awesome. Also, the thing that he was describing that the GM called fey magic-y stuff, yeah, that's just camo. Normal, everyday camo. Go down to Walmart, you can find it, or not find it, everywhere. Our next story is titled, Not Gonna 66 My Hometown. Gonna skip a lot of useless details. Basically, I played a paladin that was not falling for the tricks of this evil god that the rest of the party was fawning over. Evil God shows up while we're in my paladin's hometown and says that if the party wants more power, they'll have to kill everyone in the village. The moment that pissed me off was when we cleared the bandits out of the mayor's house and we found a secret room he used to kill people in. I was cool with smoking just the mayor, but my party tries to tell me in character and out of character that the murder room justified the slaughter of the entire town. I was straight up forced off a character that I liked. He wasn't a Boy Scout by any means, but he wouldn't just Anakin his own town for the party's sake. I would have loved to go into an evil campaign, but being surprised with one sucked so hard. I've been out of that game for months. Damn, that has got to be so frustrating. You have to sit there while everyone is just in love with this NPC and you're just like, how can you not see how evil this guy is? He's literally twirling his mustache. Then to be railroaded by your group into cooperating just sucks. Having the game be cooperative is one of its biggest appeals, but it can sometimes work against you if you don't agree with the group. One last thing, and that's the line about this being an evil campaign. I feel like I see this a lot more than you'd think in these stories. You need to discuss in section 0 if this is an evil campaign. Because while a lot of people are into that kind of thing, a ton more just aren't. If you really want to do a rug pull, you were the bad guy all along type of plot twist, then you need to do it right. Set it up and don't do it at the expense of your player's character. You don't say that the characters are evil if they've been helping people all campaign, but instead that they are maybe working for the evil guy, or they're just part of the evil nation. That gives you the fun evil reveal, then adds that perspective of, not everyone that's an enemy is evil. Now on to the next story titled, My Character is Now Obsolete. Yes, I know that character is misspelled, but it's how the title is done, so I left it in. I play in a D&D group with mostly IRL friends. For some background, this is a homebrew game in which magic is basically witchcraft and feared by a majority of the people. When we started, I wanted to do something different, so I started as a level 0 commoner, sort of an apprentice to another player. Because I didn't want to be useless, I decided to fill the niche of non-magical healer, so that I'd be useful even when I'm under-leveled. So we level up and I become a rogue with the healer feat. In the course of our adventure, this other player's character dies. When they create a new character, they create a rogue with the healer feat, knowing that that was my exact character. As they're a level above me, now I'm kind of obsolete in the role I picked precisely to avoid that. Now I don't know what to do. Make a new character? Quit? It's probably less dramatic than many stories in the sub, but I needed to vent. Well, like OP said, it's a bit less dramatic. It's probably a lot more common than most of these stories. I mean, it comes down to what most of these stories do, and that's communication. Have you talked to them and let them know that it was lame to wear the same dress to the party? They might not even realize you care about it. Or maybe they thought they were helping by taking some of the healing duties off you. To me, it kind of makes sense in a group without a dedicated healer to have multiple multi-spec side healers. Definitely don't quit. At worst, roll a new character. At best, you can find a cool in-game reason for you both holding the same role and it becomes a thing. Who knows? But for now, on to the next story, titled Mini Horror Story, Work in Progress. Have a problem with another player for several small things but adds up over sessions. Never interacts with anyone much out of game and only interacts with me in-game. In almost a year, to tell me he was upset he didn't get to kill a creature of the month, and fishing for free actions. After rescheduling, he still can't make it on time, so we do this session without him. Session itself becomes one of the best this campaign had. Now I'm questioning whether I can tolerate him in the next session or if I'm just going to have to snap at him. So this is one of the hardest parts about being a DM. When you realize that a game is more fun without one of your players. I'm not sure what the dynamic is between y'all, IRL friends or not, but at a certain point you just gotta cut out. I mean, give them a chance. You have to talk with them and give them a chance to improve their own behavior first. If that doesn't work, talk to your players first and see what they think. But if everyone feels the same and they're not showing any improvement, you gotta kick them. Because if you don't, the group's gonna break up or you're all gonna burn out. I hope you get it figured out. And now, on to the next story, titled, The DM Was New to the Game. The DM was new to the game, therefore subclasses were banned. Not even limiting classes to the SRD was considered at all. Edit, this is 5e D&D. I get wanting to limit things a bit when you're new, but you can absolutely take that too far. The subclass is what truly makes the class. Having a playthrough without any subclasses is kinda like BioWare before and after EA. Is BioWare still technically BioWare? Sure, but it's missing the heart and soul of what made it special. And yes, I know a couple games like Mass Effect 2 were published post-EA, but most of those were in production before EA. Side tangent aside, if you truly don't feel comfortable enough to even allow something so basic as subclasses, then maybe you should consider playing for a bit longer to get more used to the game before jumping into DM. Nothing wrong with that, just know your limits. Our penultimate story today is titled, That Isn't What My Character Would Do. This is probably more of a rant than an actual story. I recently started playing a D&D campaign with a new group online. We've only had 5 or so sessions and this one guy has made a character that literally doesn't want to do anything. Every single little thing becomes a 15-minute long discussion on why we should do said thing. Talk to the mysterious figure on the road the DM just described in detail. I don't think that's what my character would do. Approach the ghost we were sent to investigate. Nope. Even when we first started out, he piped up with, I don't know why my characters would go with you guys. Like, why did you even answer this ad for an adventure then? It's such a slog and really takes the wind out of the sails of the campaign. I just don't get it. Why would you even make a character that has no interest in interacting with the fantasy world? It can't be fun. Bah! Angry bear noise. I freaking hate it so much when someone won't figure out their own way to just work with the freaking party. Not sure why it gets me so much, but it does. To me, it just makes no sense. There are so many ways to make an edgy loner type that still works with the party. It just takes an ounce of creativity, which in a TTRPG shouldn't be that big of an ask. If you really just don't want to work with the party, then freaking don't play a game that involves a party of freaking people. It's that simple. Save yourself and everyone else's time and just play Skyrim. It's a great game and you can play Dark Brotherhood all day without bothering anyone else. And now for our final story of the day, titled, DM wanted a minimum 1,000-word backstory to be considered to join his campaign. A while back, I was on r/LFG trying to find a game to join. I found a DM looking for players for a dark, gritty campaign. Seemed interesting, so I reached out. DM was super sketchy with the setting, not wanting to share any details. They'd only had 1 session so far, and 3 out of the 5 players dropped out. Wouldn't say why. Every time I'd asked about his world, he said that I needed to discover things for myself. Like, I understand wanting to keep things mysterious, but Then he said I needed to write a minimum 1,000-word backstory to be considered for the campaign. I'd ask about his world so I could figure out a backstory, but he wouldn't share anything except a city was dealing with a plague. Seemed crazy to me that he would expect this from people for a chance to join. So not sure if this guy's a hiring manager or not, but it sounds like he should be. You need to write a deep and compelling backstory, minimum an essay. And no, I won't give you any clue on what my world holds for you to craft it around. Then maybe I'll talk to you about joining. That sounds an awful lot like hiring for entry-level position with competitive wages, with a generic many hats description, also requires 10 years experience. I mean, I get wanting people to be committed, but you gotta give them something to commit to. Give them a world, give them a setting, give them a concept for them to hold on to. Then chill out with the rest. I get wanting to talk to people before they join, but between a quick chat and session 0, you should be able to get your group and have a good feeling on the group vibe and commitment level. While this hobby is something that a lot of people put a lot of effort into, you have to remember that at the end of the day, it's a hobby. It's something for all of us to forget about our crap days and escape for a while. Don't ruin that by bringing the crap we have to deal with at work back into the game. Now, with the stories out of the way, I think that takes us to today's bear fact. The rarest bear on Earth is the Gobi bear, a subspecies of brown bear found only in the Gobi Desert in Mongolia. There are less than 40 of them left alive now. Gobi bears are the only species of bear to adapt to a desert environment. Traveling in small family packs, they endure insane temperature shifts from 120 degrees Fahrenheit all the way down to -40. What brought this on is in the mid-20th century, there was a large influx of people moving to the Gobi Desert, bringing with them poachers and livestock that overgraze has driven the bears to near extinction. Hopefully, the conservation efforts being led there will yield some results and save these awesome bears. But I think that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you guys again for helping this channel hit 1,000 subs. I truly cannot tell you how much this means to me. And I look forward to growing this channel even greater with you all at its core. With that said, if you like this video, then make sure to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to connect with me outside of YouTube, you can connect with me on Discord, Reddit, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also check out the Bear Bard Tales podcast if that's your sort of thing. For now though, this has been the Bear Bard. Stay kind, stay beautiful, and keep on living that bard life.